Good afternoon, guys. It's working, bringing you a quick update on Ripple. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Ripple to the US dollar. This is the one-day chart on Bitfinex, guys, and Ripple is clearly operating within this falling wedge. There's no doubt about it. This big and big picture. I know we're reaching the apex, which means a breakout becomes more and more likely. Anytime you see a falling wedge pattern like this, guys, which is just so clear, about 70 to 80% of the time it breaks bull, about 30 to 20% of the time, or I should say 20 to 30% of the time, it breaks bear. So odds are, and all we can do is trade on probability, guys. Probability tells us that price is very likely to break up. Now, of course, that's tied to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin ends up falling, I think I think Ripple is very, very likely to fall with it. Almost 90% Ripple will fall with it. But if Bitcoin just moves sideways, or certainly if Bitcoin rises, but even if Bitcoin just moves sideways, I think it's a very good chance Ripple's going to impulse up here in the next, certainly possibly in the next week. I would say by mid-September, somewhere thereabouts, guys, but possibly well before that. We'll just have to wait and see. I think I showed you on my last update. We pull out here to the weekly. Check our histogram. We can see clearly here, guys, from this point to this point, obviously credit price created a lower low. If we look at the histogram, the histogram created a higher low. So we've got clearly that was a downtrend. That's bearish, or excuse me, that's bullish divergence. So also suggesting a breakout to the upside as we approach the apex of this wedge. So right now, I'm very, very interested in Ripple. What else do we have? We look at our moving averages. I've got the 821 and 55-day EMA, the 250-day MA. And they are all starting to converge. If you follow my analysis, you know, guys, anytime you see conversion like this, especially with the 200-day moving average starting to converge here, guys, that is a very, very good indication of possible breakout. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a breakout up, could be a breakout down, but it does indicate that there's going to be a very possible a very possible impulsive move in price in one direction or another in the very, very near future. You can see it started since back here. It's been kind of consolidating like this since about the 18th. Tried to break out, came right back in, back down, tried to break out, back in. It's been held down by Bitcoin, guys, but I do think that it's ripe for a breakout in the next week or two. Very ripe for a breakout. And if you wanted to start dollar cost averaging in, guys, it wouldn't be a bad idea in my opinion. Again, not financial advice, but it wouldn't be, knowing that price could break down, guys, knowing that this could go south. Let's zoom in here a little bit further. Let's look at the 4-hour chart, guys. Zooming in, we can see the price is also operating within a much, much smaller wedge here on the 4-hour chart. As it approaches the apex, again, guys, we can expect a larger move. Things you want to be careful of, guys. Some people are thinking, this could break down. There's no question that this could break down, and that still wouldn't invalidate this larger pattern. As we zoom in here, let me pull back to the daily because you can see it a little bit better. As we zoom in here, guys, we could certainly, there's plenty of room for price to bounce off the top of this wedge, come back down, test the bottom of this wedge here, which is somewhere around 21 or 22, 23 cents. And if we look in here, guys, that's right down at the demand zone, actually a perfect hit down in the demand zone here, but in the very strong demand zone between 23 and 20 cents, guys, sitting right down in here. So the bottom of that wedge could very well be tested one more time. And that still wouldn't necessarily be a bearish thing overall. Certainly short term it would, but overall it wouldn't be. And if price does hit if price hitting the top of this wedge here could bring price right back down, hit the bottom, and then just explode right back up. So I don't want to. I want you guys to be very, very prepared. If you are going to take a position here, have your stop losses very tight. And if price does break down to the bottom of this wedge, if price does break down to this demand zone down here, I'd be buying this all day long. I would have fiat on the side ready. I'm not saying this is going to happen. In fact, I don't think it will unless Bitcoin breaks. If Bitcoin breaks down, of course it will. But I would make sure I'd have fiat on the side, because if Ripple ever sees 20 to 23 cents, I'm going to buy that all day long. But if it does break down, there is some support here at 27 cents. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. So if I'm going to go long here, I would put my stop loss right here at this wick, knowing that price could come down, create a double bottom, and then impulse up, kind of a little stop hunt by market makers to fool people. That'd be a bear trap, fooling people into going short, and then just bring it right back up. So if I'm going to go long here, if I'm going to have a long position, I'd have my stop loss right below this wick. So this wick is at about 31 cents. I'd put my stop loss at about 30 cents. That's where I'd have my stop loss if I'm going to go long. If I was going to go short, so if you're betting that Bitcoin is going to drop, and if you think Bitcoin is going to drop, you should definitely go short on Ripple, because Ripple will drop if Bitcoin drops. So if Ripple does drop, what we could see is, or excuse me, if Bitcoin drops, what we could see is a bear trap, or excuse me, a bull trap. We could see price break up. What are we going to watch? We're going to watch the top of this wick here. If price breaks above this wick, I think it's going to be a very quick rise to 44 cents at least, up into this zone here. However, we want to be careful, guys. So if price does break up, we could see a double top and then just fall right back over. So if you're going to go short, I would have my stop losses sit right above this wick. This wick, the top of this wick is at about 37 cents. I'd have my stop loss at about 38 cents. Just my opinion. Or at least 37.5 cents, somewhere thereabouts, guys. Somewhere in that zone is where I'd have my stop loss. 37.5 cents might be a little more realistic. Just protect yourself a little bit more. Anyway, guys, there's a good chance it could break up. If it does break up, and if it clears this zone, I think it's going to be a very quick rise to at least this, to probably the bottom of this zone, which is about 44 cents. Possibly this order block here, which is sitting at about 43 cents. 43, 44 cents is going to be a logical zone. This is going to be a very strong resistance up here. This is a very strong supply zone. There's a lot of sell orders sitting between 44 and 47 cents, guys. So I would, if you wanted to play a quick scalp, if you wanted to take a long position up here, as soon as this hits, expecting a bounce, come back down, play a quick scalp for a short, and then possibly right back up. That's a possibility. But anyway, guys, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So those are the kind of that's how I would play this position here in Ripple. I would be very, very cautious if you're going to go long or short. If you want to be conservative, I'd wait for confirmation. I'd wait for a breakdown below this wick here, and if it does break below this wick, no one's going to fall quickly to 27. Or I'd wait for a break above this wick here at 37. No one's going to rise quickly to 44. So that would be a more conservative play. But if you want to, again, if you want to start dollar cost averaging in, go for it, knowing that as it approaches the apex of this wedge here, which will be, somewhere between now and September 10th, something like this, September 10th, September 12th, somewhere thereabouts, guys, more than likely we're going to see an explosion in price in one direction or another. Excuse me. Looking at volume profile, guys, we're getting the same confirmation. We can see all our buying, the majority of our buying and selling are right here in this order, right here in this block, which just confirms what we were saying, that's taking place right here. So again, a break above or below this zone is going to be, we can see if we can break above, looking at volume profile, there's a huge gap right here, just proving there's just no resistance between the top of this zone here and this zone up here, just no resistance. So the first resistance we can see from with volume profile is right up in here, guys. And again, down below, if price breaks below, we can see there's not much support until it gets down here to about 27 cents, 28 cents, somewhere thereabouts, guys. If 27 cents does break, I think it could be a very quick drop to at least 23 cents. So again, just all things to keep in mind, guys, all things to be prepared for. Always adjust your stop losses if price does break in one direction. I would trail my stop. If you're going to short it, I'd trail my stop losses, and if you're going to long, I'd trail my stop losses. Either way. But again, in the short term, it's kind of neutral in which direction it's going to break. In the long term, guys, even if we do get a breakdown, I do think that this would be the bottom if it does break here, and then I'm expecting just an explosion right up for Ripple. So I am very bullish on Ripple long term. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comments section below. As always, guys, really would appreciate it if you'd help support me and help support my channel or my page here by upvoting or liking, depending on where you're viewing this. I just appreciate your support, guys. And until next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Working. Signing out.